So here we are, the Lost World, Jurassic Park. The Lost World, Jurassic Park. The Lost World, Jurassic Park was released in 1997, 6 years after the first Jurassic Park, and is once again directed by Steven Spielberg, and has the music once again by the one and only John Williams. And the film stars Jeff Goldblum returning as Ian Malcolm. We also have Julianne in this film as Sarah Harding, Ian Malcolm's girlfriend in this film, and as well as that we also have Vince Vaughn as Nick Van Owen, Arliss Howard as Ludlow. We also have Pete Postlethewaite in this film, and Richard Schiff in this film, as well as Vanessa as Kelly Malcolm's daughter in this film, and as well as that we have Richard Attenborough returning once again as John Hammond, creator of the first Jurassic Park. But anyway, basically the plot of this film is it's a continuation from the first one, but at the same time it's its own story. Basically, this time around there is a second island, Isla known as the Factory Island. The island that we saw in the first film, the island that Jurassic Park was on, that's Isla Nublar. And as we learned from John Hammond at the start of the film, basically Isla Nublar with Jurassic Park, and that was for the tourists. Isla was the Factory Island. That's where all the dinosaurs were made. So there's more dinosaurs on Isla. And basically John Hammond sends a small team to Isla to go and photograph and document the dinosaurs that are now living there. Basically, Malcolm goes there because one of the people on the team that are there is his girlfriend Sarah Harding, played by Julianne. And so he goes there to go and get Sarah Harding back before anything bad happens to her. And as well as that, his daughter follows. His daughter Kelly, played by Vanessa in the film. But once Malcolm gets to this island, things start to change, and not in the way as you might expect it. Basically, InGen are now on this island. InGen have a huge team on this island, and InGen, as we now know at the start of the film, now own everything John Hammond once owned. So they own everything to do with Jurassic Park, and basically they now own everything John Hammond once owned, and now they're on the island, and now they've got their own plan to try and get all the dinosaurs back to San Diego so they can have their own Jurassic Park in San Diego. And basically things don't go as planned though, as John Hammond's team and InGen's team clash eventually, and more dinosaurs start revealing themselves in the island. A lot more dinosaurs than in the first film, and a lot goes wrong. However, a T-Rex does end up in San Diego. Anyway, that's the basic plot of the film. That's what this film, yeah, it's a different island from the first film. It's Isla now, and it's not Isla Nublar anymore. It's a different story. It's darker, it's grittier, and there's that sense of continuity with it. At the same time, it's its own story. It's a different film. And to this day, I don't understand why people don't like this film. I generally don't understand the heavy criticism that this film gets. I really don't. I think this film is fantastic, and I always make an effort of watching it, once every summer. When I watch all the the Jurassic films every summer, I always make an effort of watching this film. I can't always say that for the sequels after this film. In fact, Jurassic Park 3, I even make an effort of sometimes skipping every summer. This film, I always make an effort of watching because there's a large part of this film that I really enjoy, and there's a large part of the film that I think works really well. But I do also think that this film has problems. It isn't nearly as good as Jurassic Park, I will admit that, but at the same time, I still think it's a strong sequel. Anyway, just before I get into my interview of the film, just to say that I'm going to talk about a few things off the bat here. First of all, you still have those themes from the first Jurassic Park film in this film. That whole thing about fatherhood. Ian Malcolm is quite literally a father in this film, trying to protect his child. That theme's still there. The whole theme, playing with God. That's again even more brought into this film. This whole idea of playing with God. Malcolm's, he's the angel still here. He's the one, you shouldn't play with God. Don't even go to the island. Don't, get everyone off the island. Just get everyone off the island as soon as possible. That's what that's Malcolm's motive. But the whole of the film. Then InGen and mostly Ludlow, who runs InGen. Ludlow, played by Arliss Howard in this film. He's the one who wants to play God even further. He wants one who brings Jurassic Park to the people. Even Hammond wants to bring the people to Jurassic Park, whilst Ludlow's I want to bring Jurassic Park to the people. So Ludlow's the devil in this film, and Malcolm's the angel in this film. Again, that's another theme that's carried on through the first one. This whole idea of playing God, and also this whole idea of sticking together, no matter what. Even to the point that Hammond's team and InGen's team, they disagree on a lot of stuff. They're doing the opposite thing. Hammond's team wants to keep the dinosaurs on the island, and at the same time, InGen's team wants to take them off. But at the same time, when these, teams have to work together, they stick together no matter what. The whole theme is again carried on through the first film. And yet again, this isn't just a film about dinosaurs. Don't get me wrong, I will admit that this film revolves more around the dinosaurs than the first film did. The first film, the dinosaurs were just, you know, an awesome subplot on the side. But this film, there wouldn't be a story about the dinosaurs. I will admit that in this film, you know. In the first film, you can argue that to a degree that there is still a story without the dinosaurs there, but in this film, the story is mostly revolving around the dinosaurs. I will admit that this story revolves more around the dinosaurs, but at the same time, it's not just a straight up monster movie. There are also fantastic scenes in the film that, again, don't revolve around the dinosaurs. See, this film has a good heart. This film has those themes in the first film carried on through it. It's still, in a way, a similar film, but in the same way, it's different, it's dark, it's grittier, and I kind of like that. It's kind of like the whole thing with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. When Temple of Doom initially came out, people didn't like it. They said it was too darker than Raiders of the Lost Ark. They just thought it was too different, too dark, and they didn't like that whole different change from Raiders to Temple of Doom. Now, people love Temple of Doom, me included. And I just thought, I thought, you know, but that's not the same with The Lost World. You know, when The Lost World came out, people didn't like it because it was darker and grittier, and I thought by now people would like The Lost World. Apparently not, but I do. I actually really like the whole idea that it's different, it's darker, and it's, you know, a bit more scary. Bear in mind, dinosaurs exist now. It's not going to be all happy and everything. It's not going to be, oh, well, dinosaurs exist. Don't worry, because we can still kill them all. No, dinosaurs are more dangerous. You know, I like this whole idea of having a second island as much as Jurassic Park world, whilst at the same time, it's expanding on everything. I like that whole idea. You know, Spielberg could have just gone off the books, because in the end, you know, these Jurassic Park films are based off the books. Spielberg could have just, you know, ignored the books and just went, you know what they're going to do in the second film? They're going to return to Eyes of Nublar, and they're going to try and fix the park back up. Instead, he tries to do something different. Ignores Eyes of Nublar and go to Eyes of Sauna, which is arguably more exciting. It's going to have more intrigue. Like, oh, it's a different island. What's going to happen here? Again, I really like that. Anyway, let's talk about the film in depth. Let's get into my in-depth review of this film. First of all, let's talk about the opening scene of the film. I really like the opening scene of the film. Just from the opening scene, you already know there's going to be more dinosaurs. Because, well, we see dinosaurs in that opening scene that we didn't see in the first film. That's a pretty awesome scene in my opinion. You know, it sets the tone for this film. It sets the tone for, okay, we're on a different island now. This is going to be interesting. Again, I think the opening scene of the film is great. It works really well and it sets the film in a really good tone in my opinion. And then we have this cut to Malcolm, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Just a cut of the, you know, the mom of this girl screaming like, ah! You get the cut to Malcolm and he's just like, ah, yawning. And that's a fantastic cut. It really is. And you just get this introduction to Malcolm here. And then you get this weird guy in the tram. He's just like, rah, rah. And it's just like, I believe you. You get this whole idea that, you know, people didn't believe Jurassic Park happened. Bear in mind, Jurassic Park happened six years ago when this film came out, and people don't believe it happened. 3 people died on the island, but where's the proof that dinosaurs killed them? I like that idea, you know, adds a bit of intrigue. And also, when you watch this film on a second view, you always have that sense of irony, like, oh, well, by the end of the film, you're going to really believe that, you know, dinosaurs exist, because, well, there's going to be a T-Rex in San Diego. Anyway, I like that whole idea that, you know, people didn't believe that Jurassic Park happened, because, again, on the second viewing, it adds a bit of irony in there. But anyway, then we have this sense of continuity. See the kids again, you know, Timmy and Lex. Timmy once again played by Joseph Mazzello, and Lex once again played by Ariana Richards. Again, adds that sense of continuity, even if they're only there just for a somewhat cameo role. It's just kind of nice to see them again. And then we get Richard Attenborough return as John Hammond. And I must admit, you know, every time I watch this film, I always forget that, you know, he has quite a big role in the film. Yeah, he might not be in the film nearly as much as in the first one, but he still has quite a significant role in the film, and it has like I love the way he is in this film. It's just like Eyes of Nublar was side A and Eyes of Sauna was side B, and no, he's great in this film. Once again, I think Richard Attenborough is playing John Hammond great in this film, and I really liked that they actually had him in this film. Then we get this first, you know, a little bit of a confrontation between Malcolm and Ludlow played by Arliss Howard. And basically, I really liked, just from that little confrontation there, you just know these two characters are not going to get along for the rest of the film. And yeah, they don't. Anyway, I'm going to go into that a bit later. Then we get Malcolm going to the island, and we get the Stegosaurus scene. I think that's the whole Stegosaurus scene. Again, we're seeing more dinosaurs. And on the side note here, Spielberg went bigger with this film, and you get the whole phrase, you know, bigger doesn't always mean better. And yes, that's the case with this film. But at the same time, you know, I think bigger was the direction Spielberg needs to go with this film. Bear in mind, you know, I think Jurassic Park had the right amount of dinosaurs. That was the first time people see spinning dinosaurs in cinema for the first time in like ages. Well, first time ever really in that film. And then in this film, he's doing the same thing. It's a sequel, but he's got more dinosaurs. I think that was the direction it needs to go. You know, instead of in this film, we get, you know, not just one T-Rex, 2 T-Rexes, which by the way I can't wait to talk about. But also we get, you know, Velociraptors once again, but we get more Velociraptors, and also this one we get Stegosaurus, we get, you know, the little baby dinosaurs. There's loads more dinosaurs in this one. I think that's the direction we need to go. That whole idea, you know, bigger doesn't always necessarily mean better, but I think bigger was the direction that this film had to go. Anyway, going back to the plot, I like the introduction of Sarah Harding. You kind of get the idea, oh yeah, I can understand why, you know, she'll be going out with Malcolm. That makes a lot of sense. And by the way, on the side note as well, there is actually a good reason that Malcolm goes to his island. He goes to his island for love. He goes to his island to go and get his girlfriend back before anything bad happens to her. That's a good idea, you know. Instead of just in Jurassic Park 3 when Grant goes back to the island for money, instead here we actually have a good reason when Malcolm, why would Malcolm go back to his island? And it makes a lot of sense. But anyway, you kind of get this idea, oh yeah, I can believe that, you know, Malcolm and Sarah Harding are a couple. That makes a lot of sense. You know, Julianne Moore and Jeff Goldblum have good chemistry in this film. I like that. I like the whole Stegosaurus scene. More dinosaurs in the film, yes. And then you get the whole, yeah, like another great in Malcolm line, like that's all stars, you know, the oohing and the ahhing, and then there's the running and the screaming, something like that. That's a great scene. I also like Vince Vaughn in this film. I haven't really talked about him yet, but Vince Vaughn as Nick Van Owen, he's great in the film. He's similar to Sarah Harding. Again, you can believe that he's this dinosaur enthusiast, and also Eddie, played by Schiff. He's great. He's a very likable character in the film. And then we have probably one of the weaker parts of the film, I must admit. The whole storyline with somehow Kelly came to this island. Kelly, you know, Malcolm's daughter, came to this island without Malcolm noticing on the boat, because bear in mind, they come to this island on this really small boat with this trailer on, and it's kind of hard to believe that, you know, Malcolm didn't notice his own daughter on this boat on the way to the island. And then you get this baby weird where she's like, I was only trying to make breakfast, and then he's just like, how did she get to the island and they didn't notice? But again, I like the whole idea of having another child on the island, because it adds to that whole idea, you know, from the first one with Timmy and Lex, oh my god, these kids are in genuine danger, what's going to happen to them? And again, that whole theme of fatherhood is carried on from the first film with Grant's character into the second film with Malcolm's character. Literally, he is a father in this film, and he has to protect his kid at all costs. And again, that's a good idea. I liked having the kid on the island, but it's just a bit of a weak way to get there, I must admit. Anyway, then we get the introduction to InGen. This is one of my favourite parts of the film. You see all the cars riding and everything, and I get the introduction to Peter Postlethewaite's character. I forgot his names in the film, but you get the introduction to Peter Postlewaite's character. He's all flicking through, and he's just like, what? And then the guy's like, what sort of dinosaur is he? He's flicking through this, he's like, it's a rocket, and then just throws the cards away. It says, shoot it already, and it's a great scene. And also we get the motorbike riding under the Brachiosaurus, and that's a fantastic scene, you know. Again, that's fantastic introduction. You get the idea, oh, these characters aren't going to be nice to the dinosaurs, whilst Hammond's team is, and that's a fantastic idea. And I love the scene where we introduced to, you know, InGen's team. That's a great scene in this film. Anyway, then we get the whole thing where Ludlow, played by Arliss, is trying to communicate with people back in America about this whole idea of Jurassic Park, and they have all these dinosaurs now in cages now, and then we get Sarah Harding and Nick Van Owen, you know, on the dinosaurs, and that's all very good and everything. And then we get the whole baby T-Rex thing, you know, even though I think, you know, Nick Van Owen picking up the baby T-Rex, which is obviously her, even so I think that's a bit of a bad idea, I must admit. The animatronics on that baby T-Rex look incredible. He generally looks like, you know, Nick Van Owen is holding a baby T-Rex. Again, they did a superb job with the animatronics of this film. And then we get the whole scene with the trailer where the T-Rex is knocking the trailer off the cliff, and I love that whole trailer, you know, all the way against the cliff, and then literally again another suspenseful scene that doesn't always revolve around the dinosaurs. Yes, the T-Rex put the trailer over the cliff. At the same time, these people are just trying to survive in the trailer. Like Julianne Moore's character, Sarah Harding, literally falls in the glass, almost facing down on the cliff, and she could die any second. And again, that's another suspenseful scene, and another scene that doesn't always necessarily revolve around the dinosaurs. Anyway, then I get Richard Schiff's character, Eddie. He's trying to pull the trailer back up, and then this is one of my favourite parts of the film. The two parent T-Rexes come out, and you just get this shot, and Eddie's just like, he's looking at one, he's looking at Joe, one T-Rex, is just like, and then look in the next one, it's just like, oh my god, there's two parent T-Rex. And I remember the first time, every time I watch this, I'm always like, in this scene, I was like, that's such a fantastic scene in this film. It really is. It's oh god, it just brings a huge smile to my face. Like, you know what, it's almost like Spielberg just sat down in this film, you know, like, we should get a T-Rex back, we know what we're going to do in this film, have another T-Rex. I was just like, yes. And that whole parent T-Rex thing, you know, like this film or not, you've got to admit, that's one of the best scenes in the whole franchise. It's just the two parent T-Rexes there. Oh my god, that's such a fantastic scene. And then the way the trailer literally forces the clip around, Spielberg doesn't cut that shot, they cut the shot to stay on them. It's like, again, it's just one long shot. This movie, yet again, is made incredibly well. It's incredibly well made. Basically, yeah, you get this with one long shot as the trailer falls off the cliff into the sea. And by the way, the CGI, yet again, is great. Just off the cliff in itself, you really do believe that his character's hanging off the cliff. And again, with the T-Rexes, I yet again couldn't tell when the T-Rexes changed from animatronics to CGI. Like the first one, I couldn't tell. Bear in mind, this was 1997. How long ago was that now? 17, 18 years ago. And the CGI still holds up in this film incredibly well. It really does. You know, they did another superb job with the CGI in this film. You know, yet again, whether you think the story of the film is good or not, it's still made incredibly well. Anyway, then we get the whole thing with, you know, Hammond's team now working with the Indian team. And I like this whole idea where there's like similar people on each side of the team and then they interact with each other. And then we get, you know, the little we need, once again, the little we need in between Malcolm and Ludlow, and they're just like, even they're talking around that we just gotta help each other. And again, that's that whole theme, you know, sticking together no matter what, at whatever stakes. And well, you know, it's life and death in that situation. And then we get the reveal of more dinosaurs. And this is when it gets more exciting. This is when, you know, it becomes a lot darker, quite literally. All the dinosaurs come out at night, yet again, and I just realised it. Yet again, like the first Jurassic Park, all the dinosaurs, or well, all the vicious dinosaurs start coming out at night. Because in the first Jurassic Park, you have the famous T-Rex that takes place at night. And then in this film, more dinosaurs start to come out at night. Yes, we get, you know, a few dinosaurs in the day in this film, but also the more vicious ones start to come out at night. Then we get the reappearance of the T-Rex. You know, the T-Rex pointing its, you know, its jaw through the tent that Sarah and Kelly's sleeping in. That's a great thing. And then T-Rex in the waterfall, again, that's fantastic. And then you get oh, he's coming back. And then Malcolm walks through the waterfall. I'm just like, haha, Malcolm's alive. Anyway, then you get the whole theme of the Velociraptors in the long grass, and that's absolutely fantastic in my opinion. You know, that, you know, you start seeing the Velociraptors' heads and then their tails just poking through the long grass, and then I just like, don't go through the long grass, don't go through the long grass, and then they go through the long grass, and you're just like, they're gonna get in by Velociraptors. And then you got the whole Velociraptor scene between Malcolm, Sarah, and Kelly. Again, that's another fantastic scene where, you know, Malcolm's trying to get away from Velociraptor in the car, and the Velociraptor is literally like, they're trying to claw its way through the car, trying to bite its way through the car window. Again, that's fantastic. And then you get the whole team, you know, Sarah and Kelly trying to work together to get away from the raptors. And then you get a bit of a corny moment where I must admit, it's a bit of a corny moment, a bit stupid moment. One of the Velociraptors is about to eat Kelly, and she just uses her gymnastic skills to kick the Velociraptors away. But then you get the classic Jeff Goldblum as Ian Malcolm, like, you got kicked from the team. And even so, it's a bit of a stupid moment. I did like Ian Malcolm's line there. And then you get Nick Van Owen communicating with InGen to somehow, you know, save them on the island. It's a bit like the whole Jeep scene in Jurassic World. You know, still today, I don't understand how Nick Van Owen communicated with, you know, from the communication center inside this island, you know, to outside this island. You would think the electrics on this island wouldn't work anymore, and somehow they do. I understand, you know, it's to move the plot forward, but it was just a bit like, yeah, I can't believe that would happen now. Then you get this scene where the helicopter's showing up in Arizona, and it was taking, you know, it's taking Malcolm and Nick Van Owen and Kelly and Sarah Harding away. The thing is with this scene though, when we literally follow the characters up to the helicopter, which is taking the characters away, Spielberg doesn't cut again. He just follows the characters all in one shot, and that's a fantastic scene. And then you get a Lost World miss again, you know, bum 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 bum. Bum, da da dum, dum, bum, bum. Again, that's another fantastic scene in my opinion. And then you get this scene which is really good in my opinion with Pete Postlethewaite's character. And Pete Postlewaite's character, I think, is one of the best characters in the whole of the franchise. Whenever I watch him in this film, I just think he's such a fantastic character. And I wish we got to see more of him. I think Pete Postlewaite is great in this film. I forgot his character's name called now, but I think it's like Tembo or something, and he's great in this film. You get this really, you know, a bit of a sad scene with his character here, where he's managed to kill the T-Rexes with what he's come on the island to do. That was his motive, to come on the island. He didn't care about, you know, bringing any of the dinosaurs home. His idea, he only cared about, you know, killing the T-Rex. That was his grand prize. And he finally got to kill the T-Rex, but he lost his companion, his best friend, in the process. He lost RJ. And again, it's that whole, you know, theme from the first film of sticking together no matter what, and he didn't, and he lost his friend. Again, it's another fantastic moment, and you know, Pete Postlewaite plays his character so well. Anyway, then we get to the part of the film that I'm not a huge fan of, I must admit. The whole San Diego stuff. It isn't bad, I still think it's entertaining, it's just chunky, and this is where it gets a bit unoriginal. I think the whole idea of Arizona is, you know, original, it's unique and it's different, and you know, yes, it's a second island, but it's not done in the same way. You know, it's not with the second island, people are going there to see dinosaurs, they're going there to be wild. The idea of the second island, people, you know, there's two teams, one team's trying to document the dinosaurs, and the other team's trying to, you know, kill the dinosaurs, more or less. And you know, that's a different idea from the first film. The whole San Diego sequence though, it just reminds me too much of another film. See if you can guess it. They capture a monster on an island, they bring that monster back to America, they try and, you know, use that monster for entertainment, but the monster ends up breaking free. What film does that remind me of? King Kong! And bear in mind, yes, up to this point we already had, you know, King Kong movies before, and especially now when we've had Peter Jackson's King Kong movie, which came out in 2005. So when you watch this film now, you're just like, well, it's just so similar to King Kong. And don't be wrong, yes, I know this film is based on a book, but still, it's just very, very similar to King Kong, and I just can't get over that whole idea. It's just like, this is King Kong, but with a T-Rex. It just is. Anyway, I don't hate the whole San Diego sequence. It's just, you know, a bit chunky and it doesn't really flow well. For example, you have this T-Rex, it breaks out and it's roaring, it's inside, it gives out this strong roar in San Diego, and that's a fantastic moment. And then suddenly Spielberg cuts to the T-Rex just walking down, literally just walking down a neighborhood, and no one's noticing it. And then it goes in this back garden of this house. There's kids like trying to wake them up. They're like, oh, the T-Rex in the backyard. I can't get over this idea that how is this the only family that is noticing a T-Rex roaming San Diego? And it's just a bit, you know, it's a bit chunky. Then because then we cut to the T-Rex. It's literally, yeah, now it's doing what I expect it to be doing, trashing, you know, stores in San Diego, trashing the button, you know, people screaming and seeing the T-Rex. That's what I expected to see. And again, it's shot really well. It's made really well. At the same time, the whole thing doesn't flow well. You know, you do believe that there's a T-Rex in San Diego. It's just a bit chunky and it isn't made as well as, you know, the 3 quarters of the film before this. It's entertaining, it's just not made as well as it could be. Again, it just feels a bit unoriginal, especially with the whole King Kong story. Yes, I know this is based on the book. The first few Jurassic Park films are based on the book, but at the same time, it just feels a bit unoriginal, and it's just a bit like, it just feels a bit chunky. And I also do like the fate of Ludlow in this film. You know, Ludlow played by Arliss, and I must admit, I'm not the biggest fan of Ludlow. He's a bit of an annoying character in my opinion. Yeah, he is in this film in a way, but at the same time, he's a bit annoying. It's not Arliss' performance that's bad, it's just the character isn't that interesting, I must admit. He's not nearly as interesting as all the characters from the first film. I even think Pete Postlewaite's character, I think his name is Tembo in this film. I think he's a much more interesting character than this whole thing. He only wants to call the T-Rex, but Ludlow, he's just like, I want to build Jurassic Park in San Diego for my own money and for my own liking, and I don't care what anyone else thinks. And it's a bit like, yeah, you're definitely gonna die. And he's not as an interesting character as he could have been. That's not down to Arliss' performance, because I don't think he's bad in the film. It's just the character isn't written that interesting. I do like the fate of his character. You know what? You know, for the whole of the film, he wants to get these dinosaurs to America, and then he finally does, and basically the dinosaurs. Spoiler if you haven't seen this film, but if you haven't, you have had 18 years. He just gets killed by the T-Rex, and it's just like, haha, that's your own fault. I do love the end of this film. We have John Hammond's speech, and even he's admitting now, life finds a way. So we had Jeff Goldblum's famous line in the first film, you know, he's like, life, finds a way. And then in this film, even John Hammond now, who created Jurassic Park, is now admitting life finds a way. In his final monologue that he gives in the film, it's a really nice end to the film. Done really well. You get, you know, Richard Attenborough delivering this fantastic monologue as John Hammond. Then we just get the camera and it tracks along all these dinosaurs in Arliss, and it just tracks along, you know, the T-Rexes, the Pterodons, the Stegosauruses, and that's such a fantastic, you know, tracking shot of all these dinosaurs in the island. And then you just get and then the camera just shows the Pterodon, whatever, you know, calls at the end, you know, it makes a Pterodon noise, and then the camera just cuts, and you just get the Jurassic Park music on. Bum, bum, da-da-dum, da-dum, bum, bum. That's a fantastic end to this film. It really is. And the CGI in that last scene alone is just so good. And it's just a fantastic end to the film. And I love the last scene in the film. I really do. It's just the whole San Diego sequence where I'm just a bit like, I don't necessarily need this, and it's a bit similar to King Kong, yeah. But no. I have talked about this film in depth, and I do like quite a large part of this film. But there are also some weak plot lines in the film, weak characters, and, you know, large parts of the film aren't as interesting as, you know, the first Jurassic Park. And I will admit, even so I do like this film quite a lot, even so I'm actually quite a big fan of this film, it is a big step down, you know, from the first Jurassic Park. It is a bit of a disappointment, I'm not gonna lie. But at the same time, watching it over time, you know, watching this film over time, watching it more and more, I still think it's a fantastic Jurassic Park sequel. Even so I do like some of the ones later, this is probably my favourite that is out there, because it feels like it's a sequel, at the same time it's its own story. You know, that sense of continuity, you know, with the returning characters, Timmy Lex, and then you have John Hammond again for short, small roles. But then you also have, you know, Ian Malcolm. And by the way, yet again, I think Jeff Goldblum's performance as Ian Malcolm is great once again. I must admit, I do prefer him in the first film, but he is still good in this film. I really do like him. Julianne Moore's great as Sarah Harding. Vaughn's great as Nick Van Owen. Everyone else is great in the film. Again, I think Pete Postlethewaite is great in the film as well. Everyone's great in the film. The mood is great in the film, and, you know, the film is made really well. I can't tell when the dinosaurs change from CGI to animatronics, which is what I felt with the first film, so I still think the CGI has aged incredibly well. It's just the story and some weak plotline. That's all I'm saying. You still have those themes of parenthood quite literally in this film with Malcolm's character, and you still have those themes of sticking together no matter what, and you still have those themes of playing with God, you know, this time with Ludlow and Malcolm. So Malcolm's still the angel here, and Ludlow, you know, still the villain. He's still one who wants to play with God no matter what. He wants to bring the dinosaurs to the humans, which is not a good idea at all. The themes carry on throughout. It's just some of the story in this film doesn't work as well as it could do. I think the score for this film is fantastic. It's ultimately one of my favourite John Williams soundtracks. I think the score for this film is heavily underrated. I really do. You know, everyone talks about the score for the first Jurassic Park film, which, yeah, it was amazing. The score for this film is also fantastic as well. It's not just, you know, your normal John Williams score. It's distinctive, it's unique, it's something different. You wouldn't guess that this is a John Williams score. But at the same time, it's fantastic. You know, the whole Lost World thing. Boom, 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 boom. Ba-da-dum, bum, bum, bum. It's another fantastic John Williams theme. I just think more people don't appreciate the music for this film. I love this soundtrack for this film. I think it's fantastic. But yeah, all in all, I do admit it's not as good as the first film, but in the end, it's a sequel. Went bigger, Spielberg went bigger this film. We saw more dinosaurs, which is the direction I think this film needed to go. It's darker, it's grittier. Again, the direction I think this film needs to go. And I think it's made incredibly well. It's just, some of the story elements are just a bit like, yeah, that isn't as good as it could be, and the characters aren't as interesting as they are in the first one. However, I do like this film quite a lot, and I do make an effort of watching this film at least once a year. Whenever I sit down to watch the Jurassic Park films, I always make an effort of watching this one as well, and I don't always with some of the later films. All in all, I like this film quite a lot, and I am a fan of The Lost World, and I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Yes, it has a lot of flaws. Yes, it's not as good as the first film, but I don't think any of the Jurassic sequels are. And I still think today that this is the best Jurassic Park sequel we got. Not to say I don't like any of the others. I'm going to talk about them in my later reviews, but I like this film quite a lot. I really do. I think the performances are great. I like the characters, not as much as I'd like them in the first one, but I do like them. I like the idea of seeing more dinosaurs. Again, the Velociraptors and the T-Rexes are great in this film. You saw how much I love that scene with the parent T-Rexes, and you know, that's a fantastic scene. One of the best scenes in the whole of the Jurassic franchise, in my opinion. I love the introduction to Arliss, a much more dark ride. You really do feel like this is a different film. It is own story, but at the same time, there's a sense of continuity. And in my opinion, this film works incredibly well. And I really like The Lost World. I do. Don't love it, but I do really like it. And all in all, I'm going to give The Lost World Jurassic Park a 7.5 out of 10 from. Anyway guys, what do you think of The Lost World Jurassic Park? Do you love it to hate it, or have you just not watched it? And if not, why not? Please do comment below and know your thoughts in the comment section below. And just say once again, I'm still watching and reviewing a handful of Spielberg films right now. So look forward to my review of E.T. the Extraterrestrial coming very, very soon on this channel. And as well as that, I am still going to review the rest of the Jurassic films on this Jurassic Park franchise. So look forward to my review of Jurassic Park 3. Yes, coming very, very soon on this channel. Anyway guys, thank you as always for watching, and if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like, subscribe on this video, and look forward to many more, both film and TV reviews and Spielberg reviews and Jurassic reviews coming very, very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon, but bye for now. Bye!